The third and the bottom rung is wholesaling. And so what a wholesaler is, that's a person that is essentially a marketer. And what they do is they market for deals and they sell them to those other two individuals, those other two investors, those buy and hold investors that do passive income, the highest level of business, and the fix and flip investors that do, renovations for big checks after they fixed up the property and forced equity. So I want you to understand that wholesale is a part of real estate investing. You're just not actually putting up any real money or taking any real risk in the process. Essentially, what you're doing is you are somebody that's going to go around looking for people that are going through situations that we call distress situations. So that could be divorce, that could be just old age, that could be taxes are high, that could be they're upside down on their mortgage, foreclosure, that could be probate, somebody passed away and left them a property. It could be relocation, military. The possibilities are sort of endless. I've done some deals where people were on child support and they had liens, or judgments and they had liens, or they were incarcerated for long periods of time and they wanted to get rid of the properties that they may own. So you can get creative in thinking of how you can find ways to get in touch or find these people that are going through distress situations. So, like I said, you can get creative in figuring out what a distress situation is. It's not just one thing or another. There's situations that happen every day where people, in some areas, it's flooding. So it's a lot of different things where somebody will want to say, hey, yes, I'm willing to sell this house at a discount and for cash, and I need it done quickly. And so that's where you come into play. A lot of the people that you're going to be talking to, they're going to appreciate their properties, or they're not going to be in distress situations to the point where they can sell fast or want to sell fast for a discount. So most of those people you won't be able to work with. A lot of times when you're doing wholesale real estate, it's a big numbers game, because out of 100, you probably can only do business with 5 or 10. So you could do the math with that, and that's probably still, being graceful. You might have to, go through 500 to do a deal, with one or two people. So you're essentially looking for these individuals. Once you get in contact with them, and by the way, those are considered motivated sellers. So a motivated seller is somebody who's going through a distressed situation and they need to sell their property. So I'll give you an example. One time I bought a property from Mary, Miss Mary and her sister, and they had their mom's property for 12 years. Um, she had passed away, and during that 12 years, the roof caved in, and the property was just constantly getting rained on nonstop. So everything had rotted on the inside. They did not know what to do. They didn't think they could sell it. They didn't think anybody would buy it. But through marketing, we found them, and we were able to purchase that property and wholesale it for about $50,000. So she was a motivated seller, and I think she sold it to us for about 15 grand. And she was a motivated seller who needed to get out of that property. She was paying taxes on it. She didn't know how to get rid of it. It was just a burden. She was up in old age. She barely could walk. Her sister was in a nursing home, and it was just a big, tall task to ask of them to figure out what to do with this property, not knowing anything about real estate. So that's the service that you're providing as a wholesaler. Is you are coming to the rescue to somebody who's in a distressed situation. And you have to understand this psychologically, because those people do exist. So when you meet them, you want to be as intentional as possible about serving them. That's the first step in wholesaling, is being a service-based business who is serving people that are going through distress situations, and you're giving them an outlet to, get rid of that property that's a burden on them. So, that's wholesaling. Those are the levels of business. That's what a motivated seller is. And that's just your mindset around what you're going to be doing in this particular avenue of real estate investing. You're a marketer who's serving people that are in distressed situations. So it's not about you buying properties or having to have money or anything like that. Yes, you can do deals with less than $200-300. You can make thousands of dollars with less than $200 or $300 being a wholesaler. If you know what you're doing. So just wanted to make that first video, just that 50-foot view of what wholesaling is, what are the levels of business, what is real estate investing, all this stuff that just kind of gives you ability to just wrap your head around the concept of what's going on. Because I know when I first heard about it, it was just like, that was like the first questions that I want answered was just, hey, give me something to wrap my head around this whole concept. So yeah, let's get into the next video. Next, we're going to talk about marketing, how to find these people, and how to be a good wholesaler, so on and so forth. So see you guys in the next video. Thanks.